Have a great day, everyone. Welcome once again to our online education. Our topic for this moment is Human Anatomy and Physiology Introduction. I hope you will enjoy this subject, as this will be another subject that will bring you closer as we bridge education for biology students. Now, let us have 30 seconds to put in our slide. Again, this is the bridging education in biology, and our specific topic is Introduction to Human Anatomy and Physiology. This is your course instructor, online modular instructor, Sir Noy Gonzaga, and I am very happy to be a part of your learning once again. So let us first introduce human anatomy and physiology. Now, what is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of the structure and shape of the human body and its parts. Simply, you can just say anatomy is the study of the human body parts. Whereas physiology is the study of how the body and its parts work or function. Simply, you can say physiology is the study of the human body parts functions. That's why it is inseparable when you study anatomy and physiology. Well, we have mentioned this already in our discussion in the instructor's compass. So, to take it holistically, anatomy and physiology can be defined as the science of focusing on the formal study of the parts and functions of the human body. Okay? So, we will be identifying the parts and we will be giving the function. Because I, for one, as your teacher, I believe that if you memorize all the parts without knowing the function, it's useless. It's senseless. When you know the functions and you do not know the parts, it's pointless. So you have to understand that a certain part functions like this in the body, and that is the best way to learn anatomy and physiology. Now, let us discuss the two levels of anatomy. You have the gross anatomy and the microscopic anatomy. When you say gross anatomy, gross as a word means big, large, or shall we say massive. So when you say gross anatomy, you are learning the large structures, the easily observable, and sometimes what can the human eye see directly can be called gross anatomy. So an example of this is studying the human arm. Okay, can you see the arms? Yes, you can. So that is gross anatomy. The human head. Can you see the head? Then it is gross anatomy because it's a large structure. On the contrary, microscopic anatomy, this one, okay, is the study of very small structures, oftentimes cannot be seen by the unaided human eye. I will say unaided human eye, by the eyes alone, without the help of the microscope or the binoculars. So oftentimes you can see the structures only with the use of a microscope. So an example of this is the human cell. So this is gross anatomy. This is microscopic anatomy. Now, let us review the structural organization of our study. Okay, so first, it starts with the chemical level, meaning the proteins, okay, the calcium, phosphorus, everything. They combine together, they form the cell. After forming the cell level, when cells group together, it can be called tissues. When tissues are grouped together, it can already be called an organ. When organs group together, okay, especially with the same functions, They are called the organ systems. Okay? And when organ systems are grouped together, they form the organism or the human being. So this is actually the structural organization of our study in anatomy. Okay? So let us continue. So this is just another presentation of the structural organization. So again, chemicals, cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, and organism. Okay? So when you say cells, okay, these are the different basic structures of your body. When they group together, they form tissues. When tissues group together, they form organs. Example of your organs, you have the eyes, the mouth, the hands, the kidneys. Organ systems, usually we group organs together by the way they function. That's why one system has actually a particular function. That's why the organs are grouped together. The example of this is actually your mouth, your esophagus, your intestines, your stomach, your anus. If you group them together, this is where food enters your body and gets out of the body. And that's why we call it the digestive system. So organs are grouped together because they can function together and they can complement each other. So collection of organs will be organism or the human being in general. I hope that is understood. So let us now go to the organ system review. Before I continue, let me remind you that there are already 11 to 15 systems in our body by different references. But we will just tackle 10 or 11 basic systems. Some of these systems are actually divided into 2 already. That's why they form 15. But in this lecture, we will be studying at least 10 to 11 systems in general. First, you will have your integumentary system. Okay? The basic things that we're studying here is actually the skin, the covering of the body. So you will have here, integumentary system actually forms the external body covering. And what is covering your body? This one. It's the skin. Okay? The skin. Okay? So, what are the functions of the integumentary system? It protects the deeper tissue from injury. So you can just imagine if human beings don't have skin, okay? They can get infected right away because the inner systems can be seen. Another thing, the skin or the integumentary system helps regulate body temperature. Now, human beings are warm-blooded creatures. The moment our body stops being warm, our blood cannot circulate. This is where integumentary system is very important because the skin covers the body and produce warm temperature so that we can have bodily circulation. And then, it is also the location of cutaneous nerve receptors. Okay, this is the main reason why when your hand reaches a candle, you touch the flame, there is pain. That pain receptor is in your integumentary system. That's why you can feel and you remove your hand right away. So that is one of the many functions of the integumentary system. So the first system that we will be considering is integumentary system or the study of the human skin. Second, you have your skeletal system. Of course, from the word skeleton. Okay? So the skeletal system actually deals primarily with the bones and other hard structures of your body. Okay? So we mentioned it here. You have the cartilages, the joints, and the bones. But majority of them are bones. So what are the functions of the skeletal system? First, it protects and supports the body organs. Can you just imagine if your heart and your lungs, okay, are not protected by the ribs? So every time a ball bounces your chest, your heart is in danger. That is why you need ribs there to protect your heart from trauma or from any impact that goes directly into it. Second function, it provides muscle attachment for movement. So muscles are attached to the bones so that the muscles can flex the bones, so that the muscles can move the bones. That is why man has movement, because of the connection of the muscles and the bones. Part of that is, of course, the skeletal system. Now, this is one of those functions, okay, that is not very familiar to us. Do you know that it is in our bones where blood is being formed or manufactured? Okay? When you are bleeding and your body needs more blood, it is in the bone area where blood is being made, blood is being formed, blood cells is subject to formation. That is why when you have injury to the feet, okay, that's very dangerous because the longest bone there, the femur, okay, might be dysfunctional and it cannot produce blood. Okay, and then another is you will have also the function of the bones, which is storing of minerals. So in the bones, you store their calcium, you store their phosphorus, you store their other things that when the body needs it and there are no other places to get it, the bones can give the body these minerals. So these are actually the functions of the skeletal system. Okay, next system. We have the muscular system. From the root word, of course, muscles. So the muscular system actually deals with the muscles of our body. So what are the functions of the muscular system? The first function is it produces movement, as we have said earlier. Okay, it connects to the bones, and then both of them produce movements. Secondly, it maintains posture. That's why you have curves in your body. You have formations of the abs. You have formations of the triceps and the biceps, of the diaphragm. That is because the muscles gives body posture. Okay? And lastly, the muscles also, okay, helps the skin produce heat so that your body can continue with circulation. So these are actually the primary functions of the muscular system. Okay. Next to that is our nervous system. Okay. So from the word nerves, the nervous system actually studies the nerves in your body. Okay. However, there are actually four special things that we need to know about the nervous system. Okay, for a while, let's go back. Okay, so it's the brain, the sensorium or the sensory receptor from the brain, which is carried in the spinal cord, and from the spinal cord, it attaches to all the nerves in the body. So actually, to make it short, it's the brain going to the nerves. That is actually the nervous system. So the nervous system functions as a fast-acting control system, meaning if the leg is hurt, it can send message to the brain will act directly, and it can send responses directly to that area with pain. Another function is it responds to the internal and external exchange, meaning, okay, if it is cold outside, it's warm inside, it's the nervous system that gives ideation to the brain how to equalize, okay, or to have internal-external homeostasis or the exchange. Next, it activates muscles and glands. So muscles alone cannot function in itself. It needs nerves, okay, to nourish it, okay, to activate it, and to make it functional. So this is your nervous system, which primarily deals with the study of nerves. Next to that, you will have your endocrine system. Okay? The endocrine system actually studies the hormones in the human body. Okay? That is why the primary function of endocrine system is to secrete or to produce regulatory hormones in the body. So right here in your illustration, you will have here all the glands in your body that produces different hormones for the different needs of humans. Okay? So just like the gentleman, for the gentleman to grow mustache, to grow armpit hairs, to grow their sexual reproductive organs, they need testosterone. And this is being produced by the glands in their testes. Okay. So the primary result of a good endocrine system is the process of growth, effective reproduction, and good metabolism of the human body. Proceeding now to the next system, we have the cardiovascular system. Now the word cardio means heart and vascular means vessels. That is why cardiovascular system studies the heart and the blood that goes into the vessels around circulating in our body. So the main function of cardiovascular system is the transporting of minerals in the body via the blood pumped by the heart. By the way, it is the heart that produces clean blood, and it is also the heart that cleans the dirty blood from the body to make it clean again. Okay? So what is being circulated by the blood from the heart? It's oxygen. Okay? What is being carried from the body towards the heart so that it can be cleansed? It's the carbon dioxide. What is carried by the blood through the rest of the body? It's the nutrients that our body needs. And what is carried from the body towards the heart so that it can be cleansed? It's the dirt and the waste. This is how the cardiovascular system works. So primarily, cardiovascular system is the heart and the blood vessels, or in short, the study of the heart and the blood. Going to the next system, one of the more important systems now in our body, the lymphatic system, from the root word lymph. Okay? So our lymphatic system has something to do with our body defenses, with our immune system. Now, this present day, we are talking a lot about immunity. That's why there is vaccination. That's why there is natural immunity when you're infected with COVID. Okay? Now, in our natural, what do you call this? Natural immunity, most of the time, it happens in the lymphatic system. Okay? So the functions of the lymphatic system is number one, returns fluid to blood vessels. It helps the heart in cleaning the blood. And the greatest function that it has is it is involved in promoting immunity to us so that we will have resistance to infection and contamination, especially in this time of great pandemic. That is the lymphatic system. It's always synonymous with immunity. Next, the respiratory system. From the word respire, meaning breathing. So the respiratory system studies the breathing cycle of our body, and it involves heavily the lungs. Okay? So in your illustration, here are the organs connected to the respiratory system. Your nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, this is your rubberized structure, bronchus, your tubes, and then your lungs. Okay? So the main function of the respiratory system is to put and keep blood supplied with oxygen. That is what we call the clean blood. And to remove carbon dioxide and dirt from the blood. That is, of course, when blood comes from the body going to the heart for cleaning. Okay? So, respiratory system has something to do with oxygenation in the blood and in the whole body. Now, next system here, we have the digestive system. From the word digest, it has something to do with food intake and food output and breaking down of food in the body. So here are the organs involved in the digestive system. You have the mouth, okay? You have the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the intestines, the rectum, okay, where waste is staying, and the anus, where waste is going out. So that is your digestive system. You eat through the mouth and excrete through the anus. So the main function of the digestive system is to break down food. Because when you eat food, it's very big, okay? The idea of to digest is to make it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it can be enough to enter the bloodstream and for the bloodstream to bring this to the cells around our body. Another function is it allows for nutrient absorption into the blood. And lastly, elimination, okay? Meaning waste disposal. It eliminates indigestible materials through your anus. That is now what we call as feces or manure, tae, okay, in our dialect. Okay. Next system here, you have your urinary system. From the word urine, meaning it is the internal cleansing fluid in the body. So, if you notice, urinary system eliminates the nitrogenous waste or generally the waste in your body. It maintains the acid-base balance and regulates the water and electrolytes in your body. So, to make this very simple, the urinary system is actually the water cleansing internal function of the body, which is to clean the inner system. So a good urinary system promotes a clean internal system. So if you're taking a bath outside to clean the outside, you are drinking water to clean the inside. Those are two things that are highly similar. Now, here is one of the more special systems in our body, the reproductive system. Why? Because this is the very system that God has commanded in the Bible for us to use with great discretion and with great maturity. When God said, go and multiply. Multiply can be translated in a present term, which means go and reproduce. That is why human beings are embedded with reproductive organs that when it combines the male and the female through the reproductive entrances that they have, they will produce an offspring, okay? It will first start as an ovum, then it becomes a zygote, then it becomes an embryo, it becomes a fetus, and later on, it becomes a human baby and another human being. That is the very function of the reproductive system, which is to make another human being so that there will be humans in the future. Okay? So this is one area where I really enjoy teaching because reproductive system is a very interesting area, especially if you want to know where did you come from. So these are all the systems in our human body. May I again repeat, why do we have to study systems? Because organs are grouped together in systems. Because in the systems, their functions are related to each other and complementary to each other. That's why it's easier to study anatomy and physiology if the organs are grouped together by systems. Now, knowing that these are the systems in our body, what is now the importance of this system to our life? What is the importance of a functional human system, a functional human organism in the necessity of our life? Number one, if we have functional systems and functional body, okay, it maintains the boundaries. Now, for example, the skin is one. Okay? Skin is an example of a body boundary. If it is intact, there are lesser chances of sickness to get into the system. There are other boundaries in the body, such as the placental barrier and the blood-brain barrier, but you will study that in your deeper health and medical courses. Now, to explain this better, just like leptospirosis, okay? This is the disease that you get from the rats because of the flood. However, if you do not have wounds in your feet and you're exposed to the flood, there is very low or even no tendency of getting leptospirosis because the skin as a barrier in your leg and feet area is intact. That is the very, very importance of an intact skin, an intact boundary. So, a good system maintains boundaries. Second, it promotes effective movement and locomotion. Okay? When you say movement, micro movement, these are the movement of the micro anatomical structures. So you say gross movement, these are the movement of the large parts of the body, large organs of the body. Now, movement of man in gross anatomy is important for the system to be active and functional. We call this movement as exercise or work. Okay? Now, in microanatomy, movement is important because it means no clot, no blockage, or other disruption is present. So it's more of the movement of the blood, movement of the nutrients. Because if there's no movement of blood, there is stroke. If there's no movement of blood, there is dying of organs. So that is very important that there is what? Continuous and effective movement and locomotion. So that means a good system will produce good movement and good locomotion of the gross and the micro anatomical parts. Number 3, responsiveness. Okay? This is the ability to react correctly. If the systems are functioning very well, man will be able to react correctly, to react firmly, and to react in the right manner and timing. Humans can be perceived as normal when they will respond to the stimuli of the system in an appropriate way. Meaning, if you are spanked, you feel pain. You don't laugh. Because if you are spanked and you laugh, then the response is wrong. The perception is wrong. Well, in fact, systematically, body response is still the best way to test human condition and reflexes today. Okay? So if you will not eat, there is hunger. That is normal responsiveness. If you'll eat too much, there is fullness. The problem is if you will not eat and you're still full, and if you will eat and you'll remain hungry, that is wrong responsiveness, meaning some parts of the system, some parts of the human body are not functioning very well. Number 4, digestion. There should be a simplification process in the entire human system because big substances cannot be absorbed when they are big. A good example is always food broken down to form actual food to glucose and later to ATP, which is the simplest food of the cell. Let us make this easier. Can you imagine skyflakes going inside your blood vessels? Well, it will destroy and tear down your blood vessels because skyflakes is not needed there. So you need skyflakes to pass by the different digestive process, and when it is very, very small, ready to enter the bloodstream, that is the time that it will enter the bloodstream and feed the cells. Meaning, a good digestion passes through all the process, and the processes and the systems are excellent enough to perform their task very well. That is digestion. Next, metabolism. Metabolism is the chemical reaction that happens in the actual human system wherein there is conversion from actual physical appearance to substances that will be useful by any or all of the systems of the human body. Now, there are some people that when they eat, okay, they become hungry right away, but they are healthy. There are some people that when they eat, they don't become hungry right away, but they are healthy. You call that a difference in metabolism. The faster the metabolism, the faster it is for system to break down chemicals to be used in our body. That's why people who are in their prime, people who are in their puberty, has higher metabolism than people who are still going to puberty, or people who are already nearing their middle ages or early adulthood. Next, you have growth. This is a very important um, result if our systems are functioning very well. That's why from 0 to 21 years old for male and 0 to 18 years old for female, correct nutrition, correct care of the body, healthy practices should be done so that growth will be maximized. If we help our system to become normal and functional, we will have the proper growth. But in our earlier parts of life, we abuse our system already by taking in the wrong food, not resting very well, sleeping very late, okay? Then our growth process will also be deteriorating. That's why from 0 to 18 and 0 to 21, or the average is 0 to 21 years of life, man should have good systemic care, especially if they want to grow tall or to grow with a proper vertical and horizontal growth. Next, reproduction. Okay, reproduction is needed to keep the generations productive as well as to prevent gaps from existence of man and his successor. Can you just imagine if we will not be reproductively healthy now, then 50 years from now, there will be no more human beings in this world. That's why we need to be healthy now, not for our own generation, but for the next generation. Reproduction preserves a race and therefore it can mean complete continuity of one thing that started. Another thing is, when we are systematically healthy, when we do sex to have reproduction, the sperm and the egg cell are healthy, chances are we will have a healthy offspring and a healthy baby. But when we have unhealthy lifestyle, we do intercourse. After that, a cell is produced. Because we are unhealthy during the time those cells were reproduced, there will be a great tendency that the babies that will be born are also unhealthy. So there is a responsibility to be healthy when considering the reproduction process also. So these are all the necessary functions of life, why we need to take care of our systems and make it functional. Maintain boundaries, movement and locomotion, responsiveness, digestion, metabolism, growth, reproduction. Okay. Now proceeding to the next subtitle, what are the survival needs of man? If the body is functional, there are other things that man needs in order to survive. What are these? Number one, nutrients. Without the correct nutrients, man will die. Okay? I will give you an example of this. If there is insufficient potassium and sodium in your body, chances are your heart will stop functioning because it's potassium and sodium that makes the heart work. That is how important nutrients can be in your body. If you have calcium insufficiency in your body, chances are you will develop osteoporosis. And in your early 20s to 40s, you are already having brittle bone, which is only happening in persons who are 60-year-old and above already. So this is how important nutrients can be. Second, oxygen. We need oxygen to survive because oxygen, okay, makes the cell alive. If the cells begin to die, we also begin to die. Oxygen is needed by all systems of our body for them to have continuous function and for them to have cell execution. In short, it is very vital. It is also proven that body heat is formulated and at times inducted to be used by us due to the presence of oxygen, which is always considered a combustible compound. So always remember, especially today, it's COVID season, the greatest heat organ is the lungs. If you notice, oxygen tanks, oxygen sources are very important. There are some countries that are already fighting it out to just have an oxygen source or oxygen tank. We need oxygen to help our cells function. Again, absence of oxygen will also cause the body to die little by little. Next, water. Water is the universal solvent of the world. What we're trying to say is universal liquid. It is the most abundant component of the human body. It is estimated to have 70% water content. So the human body can suffer from hypovolemic shock. Okay? Meaning shock because the water content of the body went below 70%. Okay? So if that 70% water will be subtracted with 20%, it is already enough for humans to die. That is hypovolemic shock. Water is used to clean the inside and the outside of the human system. As what we have said earlier, if you use water outside the body, it's cleaning the outside organs. If you drink water, it's cleaning the inner organs. If you want to remain clean and free from microorganisms or dirt, let us drink water and take a bath. Until now, in the time of pandemic, hygiene internally by drinking water and externally by taking a bath, washing the hands is still the best way to protect ourselves from the pandemic. Number 4, stable body temperature. As what we have said earlier, man needs heat or warmth in order for the system to continue circulating. The colder it will be, the harder it is for blood to circulate. The warmer it is, the faster blood circulates. That is eventually the temperature rule in our body. So, man needs heat in order to survive. Remember, man is a warm-blooded creature. The human system needs to be effective, especially in circulation. Remember, coldness promotes clots and vasoconstriction, meaning lessening of the blood vessel size, promoting no circulation. And warmness promotes vasodilation, meaning making the blood vessels big and blood can travel faster. So our aim is to have heat in order to make the blood vessels big so that our body can have good blood circulation. And because of blood circulation, there will be stable body temperature or warmth. Number 5, atmospheric pressure. What is this? This has something to do with the humidity and the dew. Oh, sorry, it's long spelling the dew. It should have been spelled B-E-W, dew. That is present in the atmosphere when air is traveling along it. Low humidity will always mean less smoothness of air entrance to the system, which may cause lung irritation. This is why oxygenated patients have humidifier like this in their oxygen tank to prevent dryness. So remember, when you breathe, it's also very, very essential that you drink water. Okay? It's not healthy to drink in dry air. That's why if you notice, according to what we read earlier, patients with oxygen source usually have humidifier because oxygen has the tendency to become very dry, which will also damage the respiratory system. Okay, our last concept for this lecture is homeostasis or the body balance. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis is just another term for maintaining stability. Okay, maintaining fairness in your body, maintaining balance in your body. Homeostasis is the maintenance of a stable internal environment. It is also a dynamic state of equilibrium. It is necessary for normal body functioning and to sustain life. Homeostatic imbalance is a disturbance in homeostasis resulting in disease. Now, to give you an example of what is homeostasis. Example, you have a wound in your hand. That wound is what? Oozing with blood. If you will continue that wound in your hand to be down there and blood is oozing out, there will become homeostatic imbalance because blood will go out and some parts of your body will not already be sustained with blood because blood is going out of the body. So the tendency is you raise your wound above your heart because in gravity, if the wound is above the heart, the wound will stop oozing out because it is above the source. That is gravity. So by then, there is a wound that stops bleeding, and because you raise it, you again maintain homeostasis in your system. That is basically what we mean by homeostasis. It is promoting balance whatever the condition of the body will be. Oftentimes, homeostasis does not occur in a normal system. Homeostasis results because the body senses that there is imbalance and there is a need to promote balance. Well, I did not notice it, but we are already ending our lecture for this moment. Once again, this is Bridging Education in Biology, okay? And we have just tackled the topic Human Anatomy and Physiology Introduction. Once again, this is your online instructor, Sir Noy Gonzaga, a registered nurse, a licensed professional teacher, and a vlogger. And I hope that I have transmitted and aided knowledge to be inculcated in your minds. God bless everyone and see you again in our next Bridging Education topic. Again, have a great day, everyone. Okay, we are now back to the full screen. Okay, once again, I would like to thank everyone for watching our video. It is always a great pleasure on my part to be an instrument, or shall we say, a help in the learning process. So, watch out for our next videos that has something to do with tidbits of knowledge in education. Thank you very much and see you in our next video.